Hi, I'm Tamara Herl, and I'm here with Cora Naylor, and we are going to share some exciting information with you today. So, I do this series of interviews because I'm on a mission to create a movement of enlightened entrepreneurs that are going to help the world transform itself. And so today, we're fortunate to have Cora Naylor as our guest, and Cora is a certified emotion code and global energy practitioner. She's also a life coach and a virtual co-working host, and she calls herself a personal development junkie and lifelong learner. I can relate to that. After her kids left home, Cora was ready to discover what was next for her. She'd worked a lot of traditional jobs as well as direct sales business over the years, but she never realized the success she was hoping for. She knew that there was something missing, something within herself. That's what the issue was. So after working with an emotion code practitioner, she realized that it was her emotional baggage that was holding her back. Once she cracked the code of her emotions, she knew that she could help other women do the same. And now Cora helps other women to easily release their trapped emotions that contribute to negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, money blocks, fears, and anxiety in their business through her free virtual co-working sessions, one-to-one sessions, and group programs. So welcome, Cora.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, I'm just really excited to have you here. I know, emotional baggage is just such a huge deal for so many of us because it's something we're kind of taught to avoid or get rid of. So I can't wait to hear what you're going to tell us. Well, in fact, why don't we start with that? Tell us a little bit about your visionary process or project.
Really, it's just helping other women to not have to take so long to figure it out. I mean, I literally turned 60 last week and I'm still figuring out what I'm doing. So my goal is overall is to help other women get through that process much quicker so they can get on with the life, like you're saying, having these enlightened women out there. And we have so much to share. So, and oftentimes as women, we tend to hold back. We don't maybe think our ideas are good enough, or that we aren't good enough or worthy. Other people are getting ahead and we're not. So I just want to help us release the things that are holding us back so we can really bloom into the wonderful beings that we are.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that, help helping women not take so long to figure it out. Yeah, because there's so many things that need to be addressed, even if we in our own lives, of course, because we want to live life with more joy and ease. And then also for the world, let's get these things figured out. So I know I talked a little bit in your introduction about how your vision was born. Can you say, is there anything else that you'd like to say about how your vision was born?
Not exactly. I mean, it's been a long, long journey. When I was 20 years old, that's when I got exposed to the sort of direct sales industry. And that's what really prompted me onto that self-discovery journey, doing a lot of different personal development things, reading a lot of books, and just learning that there is more and that we can be more. And then, like I said, once my kids grew up and I wasn't needed at the home front as much as I used to be, it was really time for me to come into my own and, figure out what I wanted to do, because we still have a lot of time left. I hear a lot of women saying when they're, 50-ish, oh, I'm too old for this, too old for that. And yet, when you think about it, this is the time of our lives when we have the most time for ourselves. I mean, you might possibly be looking after your parents or whatnot, but we really have more spare time that we can devote to what we really want, if we want to do that. I mean, it's totally fine whichever way you want to go with it.
I love that. Yeah. So not giving into that old paradigm of, you're what are you going to do with your life once you're over 50? But I love that. It's like, no, this is the best time. This is the time when we can really have a huge impact. So thank you for taking that stance and for helping other women do the same. Um, so as you kind of started developing your practice as an emotion code coach and energy practitioner, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced and how did you overcome those?
It's still a work in progress, because what I find the biggest challenge is a lot of people are not exposed to this type of healing yet. If you're not in that world, you don't even know that it's an option. And I think a lot of times we're searching for answers, but we were maybe not asking the right question. Like, we're thinking it's because we have a fear, or we have, we're not in the right mindset, not realizing that the answer is actually in our emotions. And because, like you said, especially, my generation, we weren't taught to express our emotions, or to process our emotions. It was more like, get over it, get under it, leave it alone, push it back. And now the things that are holding us back to move forward now are stuff that happened to us in our past.
Yeah, I love that. The answer is in our emotions.
Mhm.
Could you share an example from a story of a client that was able to have a breakthrough?
Well, I've had a couple of different interesting ones, not necessarily in their business, but it just expanded. And just to give you a quick example on how the past comes into the future, this one client in particular was going to the dentist and getting some dental surgery done and was freaking out about that. And when we released the emotions, it was something that happened with her dad from when she was a kid. So just as an example of, it doesn't always relate to exactly what you're going through in the moment. But I've had numerous clients who we've released different kinds of things around either mindset or just how they're interacting with their business in general. And once we release that emotion, they just can't believe the difference in how they feel about it, how much more confident they are in all of the things that they're doing.
I love that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think I've heard people describe it. It's like you're wearing a pair of sunglasses, and you've gotten used, and the tint on the glasses is like the way that our view of the world was kind of tinted by an experience. And we've been wearing them so long that we don't realize that we're looking through that mindset.
Yeah.
Sounds
And
like
that we're carrying that extra bag, like that backpack that we're carrying, because what a lot of people notice is when they release that emotional energy, that they feel lighter. So you're carrying that backpack with all this baggage that you've been wandering around with for years. And once you can really let it go, then you can really feel enlightened and lighter in yourself.
right. And I imagine that then also you have more energy to invest in other things because you're not investing energy and carrying around
Yeah.
that baggage.
Yeah. And not doubting yourself so much. We often doubt what we're doing, what we're thinking, putting all that negativity in our heads. And it can allow you to just be a little more confident and say, yeah, it might always be there, but he can just sit over here on my shoulder for a bit and I'll go on and do the other stuff.
Yeah, I love that. That's incredible. Um, I'm curious about your co-working sessions that you have. Could you say a little bit about those, how those
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, so I do those virtually. Some people might know that you, as business people, often there are places where you can go, and it's like a community office where everyone works and does their own thing, but they're in a space together. So this is done virtually. And how I fashion my sessions is we do one quick round of speed networking. So everyone has an opportunity to meet one or two new people that they might want to collaborate with, or, chat more on at another time. And then everyone sets the intention of what they're going to work on for the session, whether that's business stuff or even self-care, because a lot of times we don't make time for the things that we want to do when we're not working. And then I do a group energy release for the whole group. And then we go off camera and do the work and then come back at the end and celebrate, because that's the other thing we don't do a lot of, is celebrating our accomplishments. So everyone gets a high five and leaves out on a positive note to finish the day. And it's really interesting because even though we're all at home working on our own, we still are sharing the energy. And it's amazing how much more focused and productive everyone is, what they get done. They can't believe the work that they're getting done.
I bet. That's awesome. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful service.
And as entrepreneurs working at home, I mean, no one ever tells you you're doing a good job. So the high five at the end is kind of nice too.
Right, exactly. That's awesome. Great. So you've got that kind of thing going on, and as well as the other things that you do. How do you see your vision unfolding and expanding in the future?
Well, that's it. Like with this global energy method, now I can do group healings and group releases. And that's really where I want to go so I can get out to more people in a bigger way. It's great doing one-on-one sessions. It's very personal, but I'd love to be exposed to more people and have different themes that we can release things on, things around stress, abundance, fears. There's so many things that we can release, and it's just nice to be able to get that out to more people.
Nice. That's awesome. I love that.
And the nice piece with the global energy method is while we release the negative emotions, we then replace them with positive emotions, and then do a positive repatterning where we do some affirmations, some acknowledgements. And that just really helps the psyche to not allow those negative emotions to come back again.
That makes sense. Yeah, because energy loves a vacuum. So
Yeah. Yeah. So we're filling that space with something good.
nice. I love that. Sounds like a great process.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that part I just added on recently, and I really love focusing on the positive stuff. I've always been a positive person, always seeing the good out of every situation. So for me, it just fit that perfectly.
That's awesome. So, I'm sure you have encountered this, and I know I have. I work with entrepreneurs and who maybe have seen something around them in the world that needs, it's like they know there's a better way of doing it, but they're not sure how to get started, or it seems too far away, or they just are feeling stuck. What kind of advice would you give them to help them at that point?
Start talking to people. It's amazing. If you keep that idea to yourself, nothing's going to happen. But if you start telling people what you're thinking about doing, what you want to do, all of a sudden that's manifestation, right? Things start all of a sudden coming to you. You think, oh, I don't know how to do such and such. And the next thing you know, it drops in your lap a course or a person or a referral. And it's like exactly what you needed. So I think if you keep it to yourself, nothing's going to happen. But if you start talking and then they tell somebody and they say somebody, and it's like, do you know somebody that knows something about this? I mean, we all have huge networks.
Yeah, I love that. It's like that ripple effect.
Yep, it totally is. Very much so. And we need to learn how to work together and use each other more in useful ways. I know I'm bad for that sometimes. I tend to try and get everything done myself, but it is so much more powerful when you can have other people helping you along. And that really helps to motivate you too when you see some things happening.
Right. It reminds me of the concept. Stephen Covey developed it or he coined it, I think, and he talks about it in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he calls it interdependence. And he says, my understanding of it is that he says, when we collaborate with other people together, we can accomplish so much more than we could have on our own.
Yeah.
So I love that idea.
It's just like when you want to go to the gym, you want to start working out and you go by yourself. It's easy to get up in the morning and say, don't feel like it. It's dark. It's rainy. I don't want to put my gear on. But if you're going with somebody else, now you have a reason. You're like less likely to say, oh, I got to call them and say, I'm not going to come. So that really gives you motivation too. When you're working with others, if you're having a down day, they might be having an up day, so they can bring you up.
Right. And vice versa. I love that. That's awesome. So do you have any special or upcoming events that you'd like to let people know about?
I am actually planning a workshop next Thursday. It's going to be at 1 o'clock Pacific time. I don't have a link or anything for it yet because I'm just going to in the works of doing that. But it's going to be called 3 Simple Steps to Manifest More Clients.
Ooh,
And so I'm going to have a worksheet that we'll be working through, and then I'll do a group energy release at the end.
that sounds awesome.
So
Great.
yeah,
Maybe I'll connect with you later, and we can get that link. I'll
yeah,
post something about it later.
that would be
I love
awesome.
that. That
Yeah.
sounds great. Um, so how can listeners reach you?
I'm all over social media. My name's Cora Naylor. It's pretty easy to find me. I also have my website, coranaylor.com. And I do have a podcast as well. It's called Crack the Code. So all over, I'm everywhere.
Crack the code. I like that. Very catchy.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. So, as we begin to wrap it up for today, if there's just one takeaway that you would like listeners to remember from today, what would that be?
Just know you are enough. You
Mm,
already know all the answers. Get out there and do whatever it is. And if don't keep it within, ask for help.
nice. I love that. Such
Yeah.
an important thing to remember.
Yeah.
So, those of you who are listening to this replay, I invite you to think about your vision and the things that you see around you in the world that might be bothering you. Just know you're bothered for a reason. It's a message from the universe. Don't just complain. You were born to help those things change. And you don't have to do it alone. I invite you to reach out to me at my website, which is thewilddivine.us, and to join my Facebook group. It's called Spiritually Anchored Visionaries. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and be well.
Thank you.